Yes, good morning, friends. I hope you all are doing good. Yes, come on, join. Let us begin. Okay, we will continue from the discussion that we have left yesterday. I hope my audio and video is working fine. If my video and audio is not working fine, you kindly give me a feedback in the comment chat box below. Yeah, just 1 minute. Yeah, I hope this is better. Yes, shall we continue? We will continue from what we have left yesterday. Okay. Anyways, good morning once again to you all. Welcome to the session. Before going any further, in Unacademy platform, we have this special price week. From 10th to 17th of this month, you will get 10% discount on compo. Whether you can go for a 1-year subscription, 2-year or 3-year, depending on your plan. Okay. Like whether you are appearing next year or year after next year. Okay. You have this plus combo, iconic combo as well. Clear? You have free test series under Unacademy platform. You can enroll, you can use my code, that is SUNEP10. Okay. See, let me tell you once again, there is nothing like revision for your prelims via MCQ, multiple choice question, and for mains via writing answer. Okay, answer writing practices. Now, under this free test series in Unacademy platform, you have this static part known by the name of Abhiyan. Every day from Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. The current affairs part you have Monday to Friday at 7:30 p.m. Okay. And also every Sunday in Unacademy we used to have this Unacademy Compact. You can use my code here SUNEP10. Okay. This upcoming Sunday, that is 14th of November, 11 a.m. you have the Unacademy Compact relating to this current affairs section. Clear? Chalo. Okay, Jiplu, hey, how are you? Congratulations, Jiplu. Congratulations. Okay, a very big congratulations. That is very good news. I have an answer writing session in Unacademy platform. You can always come and join me there. Okay, today also, every day from 1 p.m. See, I think I have already informed you regarding the topics that we are discussing here in the YouTube session. I have a answer writing session in Unacademy platform, which is completely free. You just have to download the Unacademy app. You can join me there. Okay. Yes, from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Okay. So we will practice answer writing of whatever topic that we are discussing in the YouTube session. Okay. Welcome. Okay, let us continue. Okay. Yesterday we have studied the sudden movement. Okay, sudden movement. Under this sudden movement we have seen volcanic activity and also earthquake. Okay. Under the Earth's movement, the movement that you observe on the Earth's surface, broadly divided into two. Okay, the endogenetic was broadly divided into two. Under this endogenetic, one was very slow, that is diastrophism. The other one was very sudden. The sudden one, we have seen the volcanic activity and earthquake. Yesterday we have already discussed regarding the earthquake, but some small section that is left, let us continue. The earthquakes are measured by Mercalli scale or Richter scale. Now you see here, measurement of earthquake by Mercalli scale earlier measures what? It measures intensity. Intensity of what? Intensity of damage. Keep this in mind. Which means it was a very subjective matter. Okay. Intensity of what? Intensity of not the earthquake wave. Intensity of not about the energy that is released, but intensity about the damage was measured under this Mercallis. Thereby it becomes very subjective. Objective observation was very difficult to come about. That's why we went into another scale, that is Richter scale. In Richter scale, what you measure is, you measure the magnitude. Now magnitude about what? Here in the Richter scale, magnitude about the actual energy which is released during the process of earthquake. Yesterday we have seen earthquake happens here known by the name of focus. Now because of this, energy, huge amount of energy is released, and that release of energy in the form of wave, different types of seismic wave. By observing this, the Richter scale measures the magnitude of the energy that is released during the process of earthquake. Clear? Now, one important point is, you see here, these days, neither Mercallis nor Richter scales are quite used. These days, the latest one is moment scale. Moment scale is used in order to have more accuracy about the earthquake measurement. Okay, so this will be your small assignment. You kindly go and see what is this moment scale. Very simple, but still if you have any doubt, we can always take up in the upcoming session. Now, one important term, two important terms under this earthquake is, what is isotherm? What is isotherm? Isotherm is a line joining points or locations experiencing the same temperature is isotherm. Similarly, a point joining occurrence of the earthquake or experiencing of the earthquake on the earth's surface in different location experiencing at the same time, if you join that line together, if you draw a line joining all those locations or the points that experience the earthquake at the same time, is known as homoseismal line. Why? Because you see here, this is my earth, the focus is here, the epicenter is here. The earthquake wave travels in all the possible direction like this. So there are places that experience the same earthquake. Yes, Jiblu, that is right regarding isotherm. But here in this homoseismal line, it is the places experiencing the earthquake at the same time. That is known as homoseismal line. The other is known as isoseismal line. Isoseismal lines are line joining places experiencing the same intensity of earthquake wave or seismic wave. It is known as isoseismal line. It is very important to know this particular two terms. Clear? What is the effect of earthquake? Germophologically, the effect of earthquakes are fissure gap, okay, slides and avalanche, groundwater, river course. See, whenever there is an earthquake, the landforms are deformed. Because of deformation in the landforms, the river which is running in this direction, if the underlying rock structure is deformed, say for example, if it is deformed in this direction, then the river, instead of flowing in this direction, will start to flow in completely opposite direction. So that is also one of the effects of this earthquake. The other is changes in the groundwater table, slides, landslides and avalanche. It is quite obvious. Fissure gaps are whenever earthquake wave travels on the surface, it creates a gap or an opening on the earth's surface. You must have seen during the Nepal earthquake or any other kind of earthquake in news and all, there is a crack or a fracture or a fissure is developed. That is also one of the geomorphological impact or the effect of earthquake. Clear? Let us quickly see these tsunamis. What is this tsunamis? Now, you kindly follow the pointer. Okay, very easy. You kindly follow the pointer. Tsunami is nothing but it is a giant sea wave associated with the earthquake. Okay, whenever tsunami is generated or originated when there is a earthquake. Now, where the earthquake should be? The earthquake that occurs at the bottom of the ocean. Okay, the earthquake that originate at the bottom of the ocean or on the ocean floor will generate these tsunamis. Now you see here, kindly follow the pointer. You see in this location, okay, this is sea coast, this is a coastal location. Now this is the ocean bottom. Now if here I experience some earthquake, okay, kindly follow the pointer. Now this earthquake can be of will be from any n number of reasons, but if there is an earthquake, a wave is generated. Here a wave is generated. Now because of the earthquake, the ocean bottom is deformed. Once it deforms, the water above this gets disturbed. When the water above this ocean floor get disturbed, a wave is generated. Very simple. You take some amount of water, put it in a bucket, below you disturb, wave will be generated. Now this wave, while it is still in the ocean, deep ocean region, it is getting sufficient amount of height. Therefore, the wave will be like this. In the middle of the sea, you won't even able to recognize that there is some kind of a wave. It will be very natural ocean surface. But when this wave comes to the shore area, you see here, the ocean bottom, the depth is decreasing. The depth is decreasing. You see here, kindly follow the pointer. The depth is decreasing. When the depth are decreasing, the wave becomes taller and taller. Why? Because since the wave is not getting sufficient depth, in order to conserve the energy, the wave goes upward like this. And the waves are placed close to each other like this. Thereby, when the wave which is generated in the middle of the ocean or in the very deep ocean, when it reaches the surface, because it is not getting sufficient depth, it increases in the height, thereby resulting in the tsunami on the seashore. Clear? Yes, Jiblu, that is right. Suppose if you are in a ship and you are in the middle of an ocean, if tsunami occurs here, then the wave is generated, but you won't even experience that there is some unnatural event has happened. The tsunami will manifest itself only when it reaches the coastal region. Okay, in the middle of the sea, tsunami, the wave will be like this only, very natural. Will have a very large wavelength. Okay, large wavelength. But when it comes to the shore nearby, it will decrease. The wavelength will decrease, the height will increase. Clear? So that is tsunami. Clear? This is a simple distribution, a global distribution of tsunami hazard. You can see here, tsunami usually is measured by the height. Okay. Now, in this dark brown color which is represented here, these are a tsunami having a height of more than 5 meters. Okay. So now, here see, India also experienced in the year 2004. Okay. This area is very prone to tsunami. This area also, Japan. In fact, the name tsunami itself came from this Japan harbor wave. Okay, harbor wave. All of this region is very prone to tsunami. Then comes this one, light brown. This region. Okay, so if there is a question regarding tsunami, regarding the world, regarding the distribution of tsunami, this figure is compulsory for you. Clear? You can indicate. And one important point, tsunamis occur because of the earthquake in the water body. Here in this case, in the ocean. Now, you have this ring of fire, this one. There is a plate boundary in all of this location. So all of this region corresponding to the plate margin or the plate boundary that you will experience. Clear? Kartik, good morning. Welcome to the session once again. Chalo. Let us quickly go ahead. That is Yes, that is all the point that we have discussed regarding the sudden movement. Okay, the sudden movement that we have discussed. If you follow the lecture, see, if you follow the lecture, till now what we have seen? We have seen the Earth's movement. Okay, we have seen the Earth's movement. In that Earth's movement diagram, we have already seen the endogenetic force. The other force was exogenetic force. Under this exogenetic force, we have weathering and erosion. Okay, so since we have finished the endogenetic portion, let us quickly go to the exogenetic forces responsible for Earth's movement that we observe, and that is weathering. Okay, weathering, another very important section from your exam perspective, whether it is UPSC or any other competitive exam. Okay, chalo, let us begin. Weathering. Weathering is a process of disintegration and decomposition of rock in situ. Here, one of the most important word or key word is in situ. Okay, I think in last class I have already explained to you the difference between erosion and weathering. Now, if you have used the word erosion and weathering alternatively till now, that is okay. But from now on, you kindly keep this in mind that weathering and erosion are entirely different process. Okay, weathering is a static process. Erosion is a dynamic process. That's why weathering is known as disintegration, decomposition of rock in situ. Which means, you see here, let me give you a brief idea about the difference between weathering and erosion. You see here, suppose if I have a rock. Okay, now the disintegration of a part of this rock or decomposition, disintegration because of the physical factor, decomposition because of the chemical factor. If some of the part of this rock is dislodged or detached or removed from the original underlying rock, that is known as weathering. And the process of weathering stops there. Bas. The term weathering ends there. Nothing more than that. That's why it is just the disintegration and decomposition or dislodgement of any sediments from the parent rock or the underlying rock is known as weathering. And it is known as in situ. Why? Because it is happening in that particular place. The moment this weathered or disintegrated or decomposed sediments or material is carried from one region to the other, that is known as erosion. Clear? That is known as erosion. Erosion is a dynamic process. It carries the sediments from one region to the other. On the other hand, weathering is only about dislodgement or decomposition, disintegration of the underlying rock. I hope you understand now the basic difference between weathering and erosion. Good, Kartik. Yes, good. Now you see here, there are certain factors that controls this weathering. Okay, what are the factors? Now, the weathering will determine on certain factors. Number one is the composition and structure of the rock. Composition, in a sense, by what minerals, by what material this rock or the underlying surface is made up of. It may be a very crystalline igneous rock. It may be limestone. Okay, depending on the composition. Some will be lime rich, some will be iron rich rock, so on and so forth. So the composition of the rock. Number two, structure of the rock. How the rocks are structured. During our discussion in some other sections, we know some rock are complete solid. There is no layering like this. Some rocks are jointed vertically or horizontally, strata after strata. Sedimentary rock, they form different types of strata. Igneous rock, they are complete solid. Okay, so depending on the structure, how the rocks are structured, okay, that is one of the determining factor. The other determining factor is the nature of ground slope. Say for example, if the rock is there in the plain area, then the force of gravity does not come into the picture. But say for example, if the underlying rock is on a cliff-like structure like this, even the velocity of the river or the water which is running through, or because of the influence of the gravity also, weathering will be faster. Okay, faster. Therefore, nature of the ground slope is also one of the determining factor of this weathering. Number 3 is the climatic variation. Where you find this particular rock, in which location, the climatic variation, that is very important. I'll give you one example. You see here, limestone. Let us take the example of limestone. Now, before going here, let me tell you, chemical weathering is very pronounced in humid tropical region. In a sense, in the humid tropical region, 2 important ingredients for chemical weathering is present. What are those? Any one of you? It is written here, heat and moisture. You see here, in tropical, humid tropical region, heat is there sufficient amount, moisture is there in sufficient amount. Now these 2 are very important ingredient for chemical weathering, for chemical action. Okay, in general you can say for chemical action to proceed. Say for example, if you go to a polar region, okay, if you go to a polar region, the temperature is not high, therefore the chemical action may be retarded. Okay, but in the humid tropical region, you have heat and moisture. That's why chemical weathering is very pronounced, leading to a leaching process. Similarly, mechanical or physical weathering is very pronounced in semi-arid region. See, in semi-arid region or arid region, why chemical weathering is not pronounced? What are the important 2 ingredients I have just mentioned for chemical action? Yes, right, Kartik, that is right. Heat and moisture are the 2 important ingredients. Now in the arid and semi-arid, you will find heat. Heat is there. Okay, yes, right, absolutely right. But you don't have moisture. Thereby, the chemical weathering will be less. Therefore, in arid and semi-arid, mechanical or physical weathering will be more. Therefore, depending on this climatic variation, you see here the significance of this. Let us take the example of this limestone. Now, limestone is very prone to chemical weathering if you find this limestone in the humid tropical region. If you find this, if you have a limestone in humid tropical region, it will be weathered very fast because chemical action will take place. But the same rock, that is the limestone rock, if you find in an arid and semi-arid region, it becomes very resistant. Why? Because limestone is more prone to chemical weathering rather than physical weathering. And in arid and semi-arid region, it is more of mechanical or physical weathering. That's why limestone will not be eroded that fast in the arid or semi-arid. But in the humid tropical region, it will be weathered very fast. Clear? Under this climatic variation, you can see the seasonal variation. So the same rock in 12 months cycle, 12 months in a period of 1 year, in some region it will be eroded more, in some other months it will be eroded less. Another factor is this permanent eye cover are quite safe from weathering. Say for example, in permafrost region, I have this region, okay, this is underlying rock, okay, this is rock or the land surface. If it is covered by snow, then this portion is not exposed to the surface. Therefore, this portion is not vulnerable for weathering. But say for example, during summer when the ice is melted, then this surface become exposed and some kind of weathering will happen. But if a region where you have a permanent eye cover, weathering is weather proof, you can say. Clear? Chalo. Let us quickly go ahead. The other one is the floral effect. Floral effect, microorganisms or root system. Now, this root system acts in 2 ways, just like a double-edged knife. Okay, cuts from both the direction, just like that. You see here, root system. Say for example, I have a plant here. I have a root system here. This is my surface. Rocks will be here. Now, it acts in 2 ways. Means it helps in the conservation of the weathering. Okay, it protects That is one. The second is it also helps in increasing the weathering. See, the root system, when it comes, sometimes it holds the rock together. Sometimes it goes inside the rock and break opens the rock, thereby initiating a process of weathering. Clear? So this floral effect has two. One, acts as a conservation. Two, it acts as a helps in the process of weathering. Clear? Let us quickly go ahead. Types of weathering. There are different types of weathering. Let us go and see one by one. The first one is physical weathering. You see here, let me tell you, any of you, if you have any trouble understanding, or if you want me to, repeat the point again, you can interrupt me at any time. Okay? You can interrupt me at any time. Okay? You can interrupt me at any time. Clear? Kartik, are you asking me that weathering agent? Or you are answering? You want me to explain something more, Kartik? Chalo. Types of weathering. Okay. Types of weathering. The first one under the... Okay, good. The first one is physical weathering. Now, physical weathering is... Yes, weathering agent. Yes, that is true. Root act as a weathering agent. Also, it helps in the conservation of the rock structure also. Okay. Anyways, let us first go and see what is physical weathering. Now, physical weathering is because of the physical action, or you can call it as a mechanical weathering also. Number first is block disintegration due to temperature change. Okay. Block disintegration due to temperature change. That is the first one. Here you will find like this. This is known as block disintegration due to temperature change. You see here, this particular rock, during daytime, nighttime, during summer, winter, okay, heating and cooling is taking place. Now, heating and cooling is not taking place uniformly in all of the sections of the rock. On the outer side, which is exposed to the surface, heating and cooling is much more. Okay, because it is on the outer side. But in the inside, heating and cooling is not happening in the same rate. So there is a differential rate of heating and cooling that takes place. Because of this, after a very long time, and depending on the nature of the rock, okay, the nature of the rock, we have just seen how they are jointed. Nature of the rock also one of the factor that determines how a weathering will happen. Finally, it will break open like this. And the break opening is in a kind of a block disintegration. Like this, big rocks are open apart like this. This is known as block disintegration due to temperature change. Usually, this phenomena can be observed in a granite type of a rock. Granite. Clear? It should be hard. The second physical disintegration is granular disintegration due to temperature change. Again, now granular disintegration, in a sense, it is not like this blocky disintegration. It is a small amount, smaller in size, it will be disintegrated. You see here, granular disintegration. Okay, this dotted line, I hope you are able to follow the pointer. This dotted line is the former surface, means actually the rock was like this earlier. But because of granular disintegration happening over a very long period of time, the present state came into like this. But since it is a granular disintegration, it is not like this, you see here. This is block disintegration. This is granular disintegration. Okay, one of the reasons for granular disintegration is like this, you see here. Say for example, I have one rock like this. Okay, it is quite possible the rock will have different color. Say for example, here it will be different color, here it will be different color, depending on the minerals, depending on the material by which it is made up. Okay, so different color will be there. Now you see here, heating, you know this albedo, right? Albedo is the index of reflectivity. Okay, like see, depending on the color, like the black color observes all the light, the white color reflects all the light. Other colors, green, yellow, blue, depending on the color, it observes certain kind of light. Okay, so depending on that, if I have a rock having different color, the observed albedo or the reflectivity index of all of these surfaces will be different. When it is different, the heating and cooling will be different. When the heating and cooling will be different, the disintegration of the material will be different. Thereby, gradually a granular disintegration happens. Clear? That also comes under this physical weathering. The third type of physical weathering is shattering due to rain, shower and heat. It is very simple, quite obvious. The fourth one is block disintegration due to frost action. Okay. Temperature and cold climatic region. In cold climatic region, the block disintegration. Okay, just now we have seen one type of block disintegration, but that was usually because of heating and cooling of a igneous granitic rock. But here, similar block disintegration, but the cause is different. Here the cause is because of frost action. You see here. This is my initial rock. There is a gap. The water will be collected here. During winter period or during night time, okay, in a very cold climatic condition, what will happen? It will freeze out. Okay, freezing, thawing continues for a very long time. Finally, a crack will be developed. When it freezes, volume expands and certain pressure is exerted, finally resulting in crack opening the entire block into two. Okay, this is known as block disintegration due to frost action. Clear? Now, let us quickly go ahead. Exfoliation. All of this is under the physical weathering. Okay, keep that in mind. Exfoliation due to temperature and wind. It is also known as onion weathering. Usually you will find this in arid and semi-arid region and also in the monsoon type of climatic system. Very similar to the concept which I have just explained to you. Here is a rock. Okay, outer, this is the interior part. Now the outer part, since it is in a direct contact with the outside, the heating and cooling will be more here, less in the interior. So there is a differential heating and cooling that will take place. Because of that, there will be certain kind of peeling off, just like an onion, layers after layers. It will happen either like this or it can happen either like this. I hope you are able to see the diagram. This is known as exfoliation. Layer after layer, because of differential heating and weathering will happen. Clear? Disintegration and exfoliation due to unloading. This is also a part of physical weathering. You kindly see, kindly follow the pointer, very important. You see here, kindly follow the pointer. This is my initial surface. Okay, now this is the surface. Now this is my underlying rock. Okay, underlying rock. Clear? Now, if because of weathering, okay, after a very long period of time, if this overlying surface above this underlying rock, if these materials is eroded, then such a huge several kilometers of the extent of mass is removed. When it is removed, the underlying rock, under the process of isostatic adjustment, it will try to expand because the weight is removed from above. So during the process of expansion, a crack will develop, exfoliation will be generated, joints will develop. Such kind of weathering is known as disintegration and exfoliation due to unloading of the mass over the underlying rock. Now, important term is sheeting, S-H-E-E-D-I-N-G. Kindly follow this. Is a term that is used, okay, when the cracks and the fracture which is developed in the underlying rock are parallel to the ground. If depending on the nature of this underlying rock, a crack will develop. If the crack that is developed is parallel to the underlying ground like this, it is known as sheeting. S-H-E-E-T-I-N-G. Now, if the crack which is developed is vertical in nature, then it is known as campering process. C-A-M-P-E-R-I-N-G. Clear? Any doubt? Good. Chalo. Next comes the chemical weathering. Okay, chemical weathering. Now, chemical weathering in a sense, when water is mixed with atmospheric gases, usually CO2, because CO2 is readily available in the atmosphere, whenever a water is mixed with CO2, it becomes a very potent solvent. Okay, very potent solvent, carbonic acid, you can say. Okay, and when it flows over such an area where you have a limestone rich topography, or if the underlying surface is a limestone, then certain material will be dissolved in this water itself, and in the form of solution it will flow. And while forming this solution, what you are doing, it is undergoing certain kind of weathering. That's why it is known as chemical weathering. The first is the solution. The water, when it comes mixed with atmospheric gases, becomes a very potent solvent, dissolves and carried away in the form of solution. That's why it is known as chemical weathering. Usually you will find this in carbonate rock. The topography that is developed like this, it is known as crust topography. Clear? Let us quickly go ahead. Oxidation. This is also another form of chemical weathering. You see here, rock, okay, plus atmospheric oxygen. Rock rich in iron plus atmospheric oxygen. When this rock rich in iron comes in contact with the atmosphere where you have oxygen, it will turn into this one. Oxidation will happen, and this oxidation will lead to rusting of the rock like this, turning red. And this rusting of the rock, just like rusting of the iron, okay, oxidation will take place. Yes, Kartik, that is right. And because of this, rusting of the rock will take place, similar to the rusting of the iron. Now, because of this rusting, it weakens the rock. And finally, once it is weakened, it is very prone for weathering, and the initiation or the process of weathering is initiated. Clear? Carbonation is another type of chemical weathering where the carbonic acid is nothing but when water is mixed with the atmospheric CO2, that is carbonic acid. Now this carbonic acid in a calcium carbonate region, okay, it turns into calcium bicarbonate and finally creates such a landform. And this is because of the carbonation process. I hope this is clear. Up to this, any doubt? Hydration. Hydration is another process. In hydration, what happens you see here? I have a rock. Whenever there is a rainfall or when this rock comes in contact with water, okay, this rock will observe the water. When it observes the water, this rock will increase in volume. When it increases in volume, certain kind of strain and stress is developed in the rock itself. Because of the strain and stress, which is developed in the rock due to absorption of the water, the volume increases, stress and strain is developed. Because of this, a physical disintegration will result. You see here. Clear? Yes. Roshni, I will try to incorporate. See, my firstly, my Hindi is not so fluent. Okay, but I will try from next time. I will try to incorporate Hindi also as much as possible. Okay, हम पूरा कोशिश रहेगा कि हम कितना हिंदी बोल सकते हैं, हम बोलेगा, लेकिन आप लोग को इतना ज़्यादा समझ में नहीं आएगा. डर इस बात का है. मेरा हिंदी ठीक लग रहा है, समझ पा रहा है मैं अभी जो बोल रहे हैं. My Hindi is not fluent, that's why. But I will try. Okay, Roshni, don't worry. मैं कोशिश करेगा पूरा कि हम कितना हिंदी इनकॉर्पोरेट कर सकते हैं, हम करेगा. ठीक है. Now, the other form is chelation. Okay, chelation. Chelation is another process through which a weathering is activated. Gelation is something like this. You see here, organic gelating agents that exert metal ions from the minerals and rocks. Okay, say for example, you see here, this usually happens in the coniferous forest. This gelating agent, you see here, I have a tree, a leaf will fall down. Now, the incomplete decomposition of this because of very low temperature. Now, during the process of this decomposition, there is a bacteria that feeds on this, releases certain kind of chemical. Okay, during the process of decomposition, releases certain kind of acid. The bacteria releases certain kind of acid. That is chelating agent. It is quite acidic in nature. When it comes in contact with the underlying rock, then the minerals or other kind of is dissolved from the underlying rock, and that is how a process of weathering is initiated. Clear? I hope that is clear. Biotic weathering, the final category. Biotic weathering, in a sense, it can be due to animal or plants. Animal, in a sense, the burrowing animals, worms, okay, small organisms. See, these are important. Why? Because you see here, you all know that the animals can also create certain kind of weathering. Okay, that is quite obvious. But see, in your MCQs, there may be an option. Okay, so you should at least know that yes, this is also confirmed. Okay. The second thing is floral, the plant. We have already discussed regarding this. Okay, because of the plant, it acts, sometimes it helps in conservation, sometimes it helps as a weathering agent. Clear? Anthropogenic, that is quite obvious, everybody knows. Okay, yes, that is right. Clear? So these are the different important reasons or different types of weathering. What is the geomorphic importance of this weathering? Geomorphic importance of this weathering. Okay, see, such kind of question will be there in your mains. Okay, mains, GS mains. For 10 marker, there may be a question regarding, okay, what is the importance of weathering, or what is the geomorphic importance of weathering? Okay, so if you don't know the importance, suppose you have studied everything in weathering, like the type of weathering, okay, everything you have studied. But if you miss out this point, and if in the exam, okay, the question comes from this, then that will not be good. So you have to know this importance also, the application of weathering. Okay, you can say this as an application of a weathering. You see here, without weathering, let me tell you, okay, without weathering, there won't be a life form on the planet Earth. Okay, the statement may sound very weird, but let me take you back in the geological time period. During the initial formation of the Earth was very barren. There was no soil at all. Everything was very rocky. The planet was very rocky, was very volatile. Okay, lot of volcanic activity were taking place. Not even a slight layer of soil was there. But it is because of the process of weathering, in the initial rocky environment, the weathering process activated, followed by erosion, thereby finally from the parent rock, which is igneous rock, the formation of the soil happened. When the soil became available, then through the process, plants came into being, so on and so forth. Therefore, the first step was weathering. So weathering is very, very, very important. Clear? The production of the rock waste will result in the formation of soil. That is very important. Weathering helps in the erosion. Without weathering, erosion is difficult. First it is the weathering, after that the process of erosion begins. Okay, and evolution of different landforms. So those are the important geomorphic importance of weathering. Clear? Yes, Kartik, that is right. Clear? I hope that is clear. So let us end the session here today. We will continue tomorrow with classification and study of rocks. Okay, another very, very important section. Very easy. If you can do, you kindly do the revision. You kindly go and read this one, and we will discuss this classification of rocks and rocks tomorrow. So if you have any doubt, you can always revert back to me tomorrow. Okay. Now at 1 p.m. I have answer writing session in Unacademy platform, which is free course. You can every one of you can come and join me there. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much for your patience and cooperations and being so sporty. We'll meet again tomorrow at the same time. Okay. Bye bye and take care.